I knew in my heart, I knew in my mind, in the whole night, this isn't a man.
And then this thing walks across the road, takes a turn towards us, and then leaps over a guardrail.
Went to look forward, and there was a big black thing, is all I can call it.
Welcome to Squatch-D TV, exploring the Bigfoot mystery each week with your hosts, veteran researcher, author, and TV personality, the Squatch Detective, Steve Kulls, and from the Bigfoot Research Project of Kentucky, Chris Bennett. Sit back and buckle up as we bring you guests from around North America discussing the Bigfoot phenomena, but not without a few laughs, too. Here are your hosts, Steve and Chris.
And good evening, cyberspace. Welcome to Squatch-D TV for today's date, May 2nd, 2021. I'm your host, your guide, the Squatch Detective Steve Kulls, along with my co-host down there. Hello, Mr. Chris.
Steve, good to see you, man. Glad to see you made it back safe and sound.
Yes, I sure did. And of course, we have our guest in tow here with Mr. David Wickham. Hello, David.
Hello.
And there's Mr. Campfire Cuisinart himself, Mr. Ron Bowles. Hey,
Ron Bowles down there.
It's like a bad episode of was it Family the Squares, whatever, Hollywood Squares.
Well, at least we haven't got what is it, Waylon and Madam Flowers. Anybody remembers that?
I'm the only one with hair.
Very true. That's why you're at the bottom.
I feel like I'm growing a bunch of daisies.
Ron, you should join us. Help saving the world by saving on shampoo.
That's right. So anyway, let's do our nightly roll call. In the chat, we had the one, the only OT. Of course, B is in the chat room today, and OT got here way before B. Mick was here, but he got shanghaied into husband duty, so he has to eat. So Mick, enjoy the meatloaf, and I see an Enigma is here. Hello, sir or madame. I don't know which you are, but
I
welcome.
see an Enigma. Okay.
I see. I like that way that rolls out.
That's interesting.
Yeah, and Nikki, hello, Nikki. Walt and
Nikki.
Little Walt are in the house.
Big Walt, Little Walt.
Said the fishing has been great. Em and Chris, hello, Em and Chris. Quick witty, what's going on? Terry, how you doing? Terry Shields in the house. Jimmy Trick,
Terry.
who just asked. Jimmy Trick said, anybody seen Charlie Wonton? Oh. And of course, we got Pat Turner in the house. I was just on his podcast Friday evening.
Welcome, Pat.
3 long hours of fun time. And of course, we got Sherry in the house as well.
Hi, Sherry.
I don't know who that is. That is probably a spammer.
Kennedy Robert.
So am I going to have to go
Robert
over there?
Kennedy. He's an old investigator.
Oh, is he? Okay. Okay, fine. Good. And we got Tom Dixon. What's up,
Hey,
Chief?
Tom.
How are you, sir?
Welcome. Good to see you.
So here we all are. And of course, we had that trip to Kentucky. And of course, I was on a very tight schedule. So unfortunately, Tom is a police chief in Kentucky. And unfortunately, I didn't have enough time to swing in and see him. Otherwise, I would have. An old compadre of mine from our ambulance days up here in New York. And great guy. And, awesome family man.
I mean, look where he's from. I mean, come on.
That's right. Oh, okay. And Robert says, yes, I'm still around. well, welcome, Robert. Okay, just double check. Just double checking. I see a new name, and all of a sudden they're throwing links. I don't know.
I still remember you.
So. But anyhow, let's get on to a little bit of news, and very sad news to bring to us today. But the passing of Tanya Knight, who is known as the She Squatch. I believe she is in Texas. Did the conference rounds down there quite a bit, and everybody that spoke about her spoke like she touched people's lives very well. So very sad news. She had a long battle with cancer. Yep. Long battle with cancer. And, well, she knows the answer today. She knows, that's the way we have to look at it, at least. And sad news, but
very young.
Too young, way too young. I don't know. I don't know what just happened there. So anyway, we got a lot of bases to cover, as you know. All four of us were together at some point. Chris came down for my lecture, and I'm sorry, I got to get a copy of that PowerPoint out to one of the people who couldn't see it. So I apologize for that being late. I do have to get that out. It's just been started a new job a couple of weeks. So literally, I drove home Sunday, got home. And actually, I didn't do too bad. I got home, I want to say about 8:30 in the evening, which wasn't too bad.
No.
So I got home about 8:30 in the evening, and the next morning I had to go start a new job.
Oh man, that's wonderful. Start your first day at a new job and you're wiped out.
Yeah. But anyway, we, so I've been very busy with the new job. It's kind of put me on a different work schedule for a little bit. So I've been doing a lot of getting up at like 5 a.m. and heading off to work by 9, or, so it's like, so I'm not used to that work schedule. I'm back to work tomorrow. It is what it is. But anyway, got a couple of more weeks of that before my schedule goes back to what I'm used to. So,
yeah. 5 in the morning, I'm still awake a lot of times.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm just getting up. Well, 5, 6 o'clock depends. I'm an early riser but anyhow, let's press on here. So while we were all in guys, you were free to put your input on this, but while we were away on April 14th, there was a Bigfoot conference in Hastings, Nebraska. And I don't know if you knew what happened, but somebody, I think, jumped the shark, and here it is. Now, I do apologize. The video portion, at least on my end, is lagging with the audio. So hopefully it's smooth on the other side.
That is another creature, very huge and very, very stupid. He doesn't speak, but he was very aggressive, and he said that we put him into the big hole, and now he is sleeping there, though the snow melted, and maybe he will wake up again. What a appreciation.
I could make out the supposed Bigfoot than I could him.
Yeah, the Bigfoot was easier to understand than he was.
That sounded like a Yorkie to me.
Well, anyway, so that apparently, while in the conference, Mr. Burtsev decided to, and I'm just looking at the video just to making sure that I can't tell whether or not. I guess when the next video, I'll scream over there and see if the video is. And I exactly. So spontaneously, he got on a telephone and made a phone call to his friend who put him on the phone with Bigfoot, of all things. And of course, Igor translated. So to me, this is jumping into now. You're not just a naive guy. Maybe you are. Maybe this guy's telling him that, and he is just so gullible he believes him. But what kind of reputable person has he become now? You know, we all had those inclinations, you know, during the Janice Carter visits days, but this just confirms it, you know, to me that, hey, this guy is completely off the rails.
Well, yeah, that's kind of, I was thinking that when he was living with Janice Carter. He's off the deep end there. I mean, I'm sure he wants to get the research done and everything, but there's a little gullibility. You know, you can't be gullible.
You know, during the Janice Carter visits days. Yeah.
We got somebody playing in the podcast in the background. I'm getting an echo.
No, to me, that hey, this guy is completely off the rails.
Is that Ron? Is that you?
Ron.
I was thinking that when you were with Janice Carter.
Is that? Hang on. Yeah, that was Ron. Ron, you got to turn that player off. It's coming back on us.
This?
Yeah, if you're watching it on the on a screen, I can hear that, and it's like echoing. So I hear my own voice echoing back, saying stuff I said 3 seconds ago, and it's like, huh? What? Ooh, huh?
But I don't think that Igor is a hoaxer or anything. But I think he's being a little gullible here.
Yeah, well, what concerns me, I mean, that is an edited clip because I did not want to play the guy's video. It is on YouTube for those to see. All I have to do is go Google Bigfoot phone call, and it'll show up. And I agree, Igor has never been credible. Maybe in the 70s and early 80s because he was hanging out a lot with Dr. Dmitry Bayanov. But he just, you know, since the whole Carter thing, people started questioning his, you know, he admittedly said, I didn't see anything, but I believe it. Okay. You know, and, you know,
that ain't me.
What's the matter? Ron's having a little bit of an issue here.
Well,
so,
but I like Igor. I think he's a nice guy and everything. I heard him speak up there in Ohio a little bit, but a lot of times it looked like to me he was there to sell his books for what was it, $400 or something like that for a book. I mean, okay,
yeah, I have a friend that was a speaker there, and I haven't had the opportunity to call him. And he posted some stuff on his, like, you know, this is what happened, and it was open for interpretations. FaceTime.
Why didn't he FaceTime Bigfoot? Maybe he didn't have an iPhone. Bigfoot's a droid guy. No. I was kind of, you know.
He said that So B says Bigfoot was calling 867-5309.
3099. So he's going to be a star of his own show, Phoning Bigfoot. So finding Bigfoot. He's going to be phoning Bigfoot.
But, they could take Bigfoot and do the "Can you hear me now?" and be out in the woods and be the one who's saying, "Can you hear me now?" And walking a little bit further in the woods and "Can you hear me now?"
That would make a great commercial.
That would make a good commercial.
Maybe it's one of those 888 numbers that you have to pay so many minutes, for Bigfoot to talk dirty to you. You know what I'm saying? How big is your foot?
How big is your tree knocker? Yeah, come on. Let's see who has the bigger knocker. Lord.
You guys are killing me.
And we have a few more popping into. We got Bob Lemley, Aaron Mollenkoff. Aaron, hello.
Hey, Bob.
Bob.
Aaron, welcome.
Dave Parker's in the house.
Hey,
Matthew Rudy's in the house. Hello. Good to see you again, Matt. And who else do we have that we miss? I see, Charlie Wonton's back, who obviously put that FaceTime comment, which was brilliant. Why didn't you just FaceTime him? He's a droid guy.
That would have been good.
So we do have now. Hopefully, this video will not lag like the other ones. We're gonna give it a whirl. We can check it. This is gonna be a little bit of a lengthy video, but we'll start. Well, actually, we're gonna start, and we're gonna after the. Let's talk about one other thing while we're here. I got so many things on the plate here tonight that. But we have, if you're trying to watch the podcast on YouTube or trying to see if it fits, just hit the mute on the YouTube. That should work very well. But let's talk real quick on the way back from Kentucky. David stopped off. There was a little incident in Cincinnati. And we'll play this video next, and then we can have Dave segue into what he thinks and what he found out since, because I know the police are trying to say they're monkeys from a private collection, but I haven't heard anything official from that. So, wrong button as usual, Steve. So let's get that up there.
They're just sitting up there. They were swinging from the trees.
It's a monkey mystery we're all trying to solve.
Hey, there's one down below you.
Just in shock.
Yeah,
couldn't believe it.
The whole house, my whole house, we all was just like, oh my God, there's really monkeys out here.
Video Sammy Trin and Lucky Griffith shot outside their home at about 10 last night has the whole neighborhood, the apparently Wild West Side, talking. The pair says they saw 3 monkeys in trees and 2 more on the ground along West 8th Street near St. Joseph's Cemetery.
And I know the other pictures are showing. I don't know if you guys are just still seeing the title screen on our screen.
Yeah, just the title screen.
Yeah, I have no idea what's going on there. It's kind of annoying that, but I'm looking at the video, and it appears the video is playing. I know so I have no clue what's going on over there.
So, do they think they were chimpanzees or something? That would be odd for somebody to have that many chimps.
Let's go to David for that, because he's
the thing is anytime there's Bigfoot or monkeys, you guys probably get the same thing. I got about 5 or 6 friends who forward me the email or the news report or whatnot, and so I have to kind of take it in stride and just look at it and try to dig into it a little bit. And the whole idea was when Steve gave his talk down there in Kentucky. That's the cemetery that I went to, and was in all the news reports right there. They was talking about it on the way down, going to the expedition, and really didn't hear much because we had our own thing going on down there. And so on the way back, I was getting gas. I thought, I wonder where this cemetery is at. So I Googled it, and it was about 15 minutes off the road. And I thought, well, you know what? This would be a quick little side diversion, stretch my legs and see what's going on.
Yeah.
And so I got off and kind of looked at the map a little bit and had decided, well, I'm going to go find this address because they had some different news reports had the address. And I got up to the address and it was Enright and 8th Avenue. And I kind of looked around and nothing looked like anything that was on the video. So I kind of went down the road and looked at some more TV reports, and they said Kilbert and 8th Avenue and in front of the cemetery. And they said lot 29. And so I went there and looked around, and I found one tree that kind of looked like the one in the video, but it was kind of all by itself, and there was other trees involved. And I was like, well, this ain't right. Yeah. So I did the old-fashioned thing. I investigated it. There was a yard sale near that corner, and I went up and looked through the items and bought something for $1. And the guy came out, and I said, "Hey, what's this deal?" That's the one that was on Kilbert and 8th right there, and it didn't look right compared to the video. So I go, "What's the deal about the monkeys here? It was here last week." And he says, "Oh, we had all these TV reporters and everybody filming from here, and they even had a guy in a monkey suit running across the street, running around for the cameras." But he says this ain't the right spot. He says the spot's a couple blocks down the street here, and he says right past the cemetery. So I said, all right, thanks. So I went down there and took some still photos of the news report of the young man and young lady who had seen him, and videotaped these pictures. And through just looking at the location, was able to find the exact spot that they had seen it and videotaped it. And it had nothing to do with the cemetery. It was a lot next door that they were selling firewood. It wasn't even in the cemetery. It was off the cemetery. Huh. So it was kind of funny because it took me a while to get to that point. But the cemetery, St. Joseph's Cemetery, is really beautiful. It's well taken care of. I kind of drove through there and then pulled up an old map of the cemetery lots and found where the 29th lot is, and started walking around there and didn't see anything that struck me, well. Looked at the map and saw that there was a bunch of city parks down below that, and the one was pretty big. It was the Embroff Woods, and they also had a Mount Echo Park, and all these were kind of like a cascade down from the cemetery. And looking at the map, lo and behold, there's the creek that connected the cemetery on the southeast part of the cemetery to the city parks, the Embroff Woods and the Mount Echo. And that looks like anywhere else you wouldn't believe that you were down in Cincinnati in that nice little creek bed there.
Yep.
It followed all the way down, and then there's like maybe a block that they would have to somehow cross and go underneath the gutter, and then boom, they're in a very thick park area. There's the Boldface Creek. That's what the name of it was, and it was just real interesting. The news reports had a lady that said that she had seen one standing on the ground, and that it had been standing, and it was a little taller than the trash cans in the area. And so I took that as it's a moment to look into, and I got some people staring at me because I got a tape measure, and I went to their city ordinated trash cans, and I measured a couple of them, and they had two different kinds. They had one that was 48 inches in height, and the other one was 53 inches in height. They were like common. Everyone had the same trash can for the garbage crews. And the one lady said that she had seen it, and it was taller than the trash can. So that's taller than 48 inches, 53 inches.
Yeah, that would probably rule out chimpanzee.
Well, if you look up, depending on what source you look into, on average, a chimpanzee is about 4 foot, might be a little bit taller, but that definitely another candidate was a spider monkey, is what I saw in about the right height. Again, the first initial reports from the police officers and the cemetery officials was that they thought maybe it was a private collection that had been running, because there was multiple ones that they saw in the tree, and one was on the ground when they were recording that. I don't know about a private collection, but I would be very concerned if I was a city official, if I had a chimpanzee that a witness, I don't know the credibility of checking into, was around 4 foot or a little bit taller. That's a pretty good sized chimp or a spider monkey. And chimpanzee could be very, very, I don't know, the spider monkey is a little bit thinner and a little bit more wiry, I guess. But the chimps could be very aggressive. And we've had multiple reports there in the news about, injuries by people who had the chimps that went a little aggressive.
Oh, yeah.
That's that poor woman who had her face practically torn right off up in New York.
Now, some of the other news reports, the cemetery officials said that there was known fact that they had a flock of turkeys in the cemetery, and police officers also said that they thought it was owl chattering, kind of like a barn owl doing their monkey chatter, which it might actually be monkeys doing the monkey chatter. I don't know. But for me, the takeaway. Oh, and the guy I talked to at the yard sale, he said, yeah, they have a problem. They're not handling it. He said he saw one cross the road down by Elberon Avenue, and he said it had a tail and it scampered. He says it wasn't a cat, it wasn't a raccoon. It just kind of giddy up galloped, I guess you could say, on all fours. And then he said he had a friend who saw it. Now, I couldn't quite nail it, the park, but he said Elberon Park, which there wasn't anything named that around there, but there's Elberon Avenue that leads to Mount Echo Park. So he said that he had a friend that saw one down there. So I believe that there's definitely a primate down there, and I don't know if Ron had seen Matt Moneymaker. He had posted a possibility, because when I first saw the video, I definitely reminisced about the episode they had in New York, the New York episode where they had the juvenile Sasquatch up in the tree that they videotaped.
Yeah,
and so that, and
now
so
that was actually down in Modena, New York, which is way south. It's just north of Orange County, New York.
So I mean, he put out his thoughts, and the only thing I could I would add to support it as it was maybe a juvenile is because of the height, taller than a trash can, and I measured the trash cans and they were 4 foot or taller, so that's a pretty big monkey. But the other person that I interviewed said he saw a tail when it ran across the road. So those are the two things. Yeah. So those are the two things that I could add. But it was an interesting, fun adventure. I mean, I saw it on the news all the way down, and then have the opportunity to actually stretch my legs and do some investigating and put some pictures together in a story. Was way a great payoff.
That's good
way
work,
to end
David.
the weekend. Yep.
Great work. Here's my views on it: is that if just from listening to the height of one, the tail, people calling them monkeys, not necessarily chimps. I'm under the strong belief that it could be some spider monkeys. That would also explain why there hasn't been a lot of cats going missing or any other strange things like animal, because chimps will get carnivorous if they get hungry enough. So I don't know. It's one of those things that maybe someday soon they'll say, oh, here's one, or they'll capture one or something like that. And Ohio, of course, had that terrible incident a few years back where all those animals got out and they had to end up euthanizing very brutally all of them. And
well, Cincinnati has got one of the larger zoos in the U.S. It's a pretty good sized zoo. So I'm wondering, maybe they had something escape and they don't want to talk about it. Maybe.
Yeah, the zoo officials, they interviewed them right off the bat, and they said they did a head count and everything was accounted for.
And a tail count, I suppose.
But all those parks, they were kind of interesting in that the middle was hollowed out for human use, manicured, mowed buildings, outhouses, everything. But the surrounding part of the borders of all those parks down there was very, very, very thick woods. I mean, you would lose some skin trying to get through some of that place.
And that's on the outskirts of Cincinnati too, isn't it, David? It's not like we're not talking downtown, right?
No, it's on the north side of the Ohio River, and it was still a busy town suburb. But definitely not the brick and mortar of Cincinnati.
Yeah. David, that creek that runs along there, what was the name of it?
Boldface Creek.
Boldface Creek. Now, does it run through the town and then to a river, or is it just a dry gully?
When I saw it, it was a dry gully. But I think it drains all the way down to the Ohio River.
Really?
That's
Very
interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, they got some cover there. I mean,
there was one woman interviewed in the news that or the news channel that I watched kind of was blowing it off and making light of it. And they interviewed some woman who they gave a lot of airtime saying, well, I think they're a hoax or they're high or whatever. But there were just too many witnesses from too many different people seeing this, and it's just too easy to brazenly say, oh, I think they're all smoking pot or whatever, they're all high. I think it's very brazen and not really called for. And I think that was some very bad reporting done by the news channel.
Typical, wink, wink, nudge, nudge.
Yeah. Quick, what he asked David, are there any caves in the area?
I didn't see any that when I was going down, but I didn't get into the chance to get into the bigger park. There was lots of people there, and I didn't want to kind of I had Bigfoot gear on, so I didn't want to kind of go trouncing through the woods looking for Bigfoot or monkeys or whatever. And so I did look around though, but I didn't see any caves.
Gotcha. Okay. So where should we start? I think this is a good segue. We will play the video with Chris and I. We'll start with Chris and I. But this video is a little bit lengthy, so we'll have a bit of about a 9-minute breather here. As Chris and I will pick up where I first came into Kentucky, and we went out and did a little playing that night, and we'll run that video, and then we'll be back, and Chris can follow up with any questions. So here it is. Hey everybody, guess what? It's Steve and Chris on location for Squatch-D TV. And here we are, Chris.
Oh yeah.
Your native country.
Oh yeah, this is the stomping grounds.
So here we are. And so this area that you've got us into, and we're going to be doing some therming and some night vision work here. So tell us about some of the stuff that's going on over there.
The area we're in now, a friend and I came here in 2010. And this is when we were first checking out, because we had viewed it on the map. And there had been some sightings here and there. And we thought this might be a good spot, after I spoke with you. We thought this might be a good spot just to try, do a little tree knock and see if we could get some activity, find out if there's anything going on around here. So we came here, when we first came here, we got some red eye shine. And there was a flash, it looked at us, it turned its head away because the eye shine disappeared. And then it turned back around and got a second look. And at that time, it disappeared completely. Well, we pull off immediately. So we hopped out of the truck, and the first thing when the door opened, it hit me and hit him as well, was this very strong odor, a stench of like a wet dog, maybe a swampy wet dog, because it was really stinky. And so we got the odor in combination with the eye shine. I thought, wow, something might be going on here. Well, we got out the tree knocking stick, and I had a audio recorder in my pocket, which was turned off at the time. He had an audio recorder, digital recorder, which was on. So I took the tree knocker and hit the tree and waited and listened. I tried it again. 3 knocks, rap, rap, rap. And after the second time, all around us, it's like the woods came alive. We heard just it felt like it sounded like monkey chatter. It was a bunch of ooh, ooh, ah, 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 from multiple individuals. And we were just shocked. We were looking at each other like, jaws hitting the ground. And I looked around and I didn't see anything, but it was evident they were all around us. Now, I went back over the internet and I'm trying to find other sounds like birds and stuff that sound like that. There's one owl, a species of owl called the Strix rufipes, which I call a rufipes. But it has a primate-like sound like that. But no, I didn't hear anything, didn't see anything, messing around in the limbs that night. So I don't think it was the owls, but it's a possibility, But maybe 5 minutes after that, we were quiet, and it was deathly still, kind of like tonight. It was really, really quiet. No crickets chirping or anything, because it's still early in the year.
Yeah, I mean, tonight it's like dead quiet in here. It's amazing.
Yeah, you could hear a pin drop.
And it's remote. I mean, it's remote.
Well, while we were standing around, we heard the sound of gravel. Somebody walking across gravel. Now, we were the only ones here on this gravel lane. So we started looking. Something. Yeah. It was just like a quick and it was gone. We figured it was around, 80 to 100 feet away. And of course, we looked for tracks later, but you couldn't really see anything. It's just tracks and gravel.
And the gravel's really hard.
Yeah.
Very packed.
But
ground.
we definitely heard some activity. We heard some vocalizations, which could be creature related. I tend to think they more were than they weren't. But still having that skeptical side to me, I gotta think back. Well, it's possible it could have been these really rare breed of owls that don't live in Kentucky.
But then again, this area is rich in sightings.
Yes, it is. Yeah.
So, I mean, that's huge. I mean,
yeah.
And that's, as investigators, that's what we need to do. We need to not only evaluate what you're hearing, but what's the history of the area.
Right.
And, like, if you're in an area where there's no Bigfoot sightings, why would you think that?
Right, exactly.
But now you're in an area where they've been seen, they've been heard, they've had rock throwing, they've had all kinds of, the whole gambit of different types of things. Why, now we can start putting one together.
Yeah, and we were getting responses to tree knocks, and which that's, in the wintertime you could chuck it off to, well, it could be the bark splitting or the trees freezing and causing the crack, but we would get a distinctive, rap,
a double rap.
Yeah. And a lot of times we would get a response of like a big, maybe a 1-inch diameter stick, break it, really loud. You can't miss that.
Almost like a display.
Yeah. I mean, they knew, obviously, whatever did that, knew it was really eerily quiet. And so any noise that we heard had to be intentional. And so this stick break, pow, it had to be intentional.
And my night vision is starting to adjust now as I'm starting to look around. Like it was so dark earlier.
Yeah.
Now it's like, okay, I'm actually able to start to see things.
Yeah, I'm not certain if we have a moon tonight. If we do, it's
kind of does look
maybe
like
cloudy covered a little bit. I do see a few stars.
Yep, a nice partly cloudy night. It's probably about 50 degrees, which is perfect for squatching weather. If you look behind over there over the camera, you see nothing but stars.
Yeah.
So that's a good sign. It's starting to clear up, no rain.
Yeah.
We were here earlier in the day, kind of a funny story. And we were going to do a day shoot a little bit and talk and just come back at night and do the night stuff. But it was just a whole cacophony of different things happened. You know, batteries went dead, it started to rain, people started showing up. So we're like, man, we'll come back tonight and do it. So here we are.
This place too is not really great about batteries because I mentioned earlier, Scott had his digital recorder on, and when I did the tree knock and we got to all the vocalizations there, and the first thing I said when I looked at him, did you get that? You know, so he pulls out his recorder and he said, oh man, my batteries are dead. I just put new batteries in it.
Well, the good news is, the good news and bad news. The good news is that all the visual equipment is batteried up. The bad news is that I just checked my recorder and it's missing the batteries, and my batteries are back in my vehicle, which is back at Chris's house. So, but we'll do with this tonight again. You know, it's what I always say. You know, when I don't have all my stuff with me, I tend to. You always tend to forget something.
Yeah.
So, but looking forward to a great night here. Looking forward to a lot of fun. So we'll catch you all in a little bit. Well, I think I have solved our problem. As far as that,
I can play pretty well, yeah.
You know what it is? It's my stream out.
Oh, okay.
Because when I stopped my camera, it was working fine. The minute I started my camera, it started to lag again.
Ah, maybe it's eating up the bandwidth. You know,
I don't think it's a bandwidth issue. Yeah, I have 400 megabytes a second download.
Well, no, not for your bandwidth. I'm talking about for StreamYard's bandwidth. Yeah.
StreamYard, I think, is their bandwidth is kind of limited on what. So anyway, they fixed that problem. So when we run a video, I'll just shut my camera down.
Well, I love that thermal. I love that thermal, and I love that those night vision glasses. I love those night vision glasses so much. I now have a pair of them. We're still working on the thermal. You know, I saw a few that I liked, but man, boy, those things are not cheap. But I want to go all in, you know, but I don't want to have to sell my truck.
Chris, I got a question. You said you heard that monkey chatter?
Yeah.
But you said, now, have you ever heard the barred owls when they start caterwauling at each other?
Yeah, I've heard them cackling before. Yeah.
I mean,
That wasn't it. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Does it sound anything like that?
The closest, well, at the very end, that okay. The closest thing that I'd heard of it was that I'd heard to it was that Strix roof pipes, and that was really close. That owl was really close to what I'd heard or what we had heard, and the only thing that I had questioned about was they're not usually found in Kentucky, so that would be the skeptical side of me says okay, that could explain the vocalizations. Even though they're not native to Kentucky, they could have been passing through the area. It's possible. But the other thing with the red eye shine and the odor we got immediately prior to those vocalizations. Now, I don't think that was owl related at all. Now, if there'd been red eye shine up in a tree, oh yeah, but this was around the human height or a little above, and it was definitely on the ground moving away from us. And that's when we first pulled up there. The eye shine, it turned and looked straight at us. It's like maybe somebody was looking away, and then when we pulled up, they turned and looked at us, and then they turned and moved away, and another 10 or 12, 15 feet, however long, and it turned back and looked. We caught it again, and then it turned away again, and it was gone. We never saw it again the rest of the night there. But it was pretty interesting, and owls are a big problem for a lot of researchers, especially in Kentucky. Because they'll
I don't think it's the owls that are the problem.
Well, they get to thinking that those are vocalizations, like the one guy over in but while owls do tend to sound a little, eerie. They're really nothing out of the ordinary, around here. But those sounds, I'd never heard those sounds before, other than the closest thing was over the internet that I'd heard that Strix owl. And like I said, the sounds were not coming from above us; they were coming from around us. So, I tend to think, I lean toward more that was creature related rather than it wasn't. Even being skeptical about it, I wouldn't mind at all being, if I'd had a night vision or thermal camera that night, I could have just scanned the trees and man, it would have been over with, but now we're talking 11 years ago, yeah. That kind of stuff wasn't readily available like it is now, and that's one thing that I really.
I lucked out with the Ohio Department of Natural Resources a few years ago put out a CD that had North America owls on it, and I have it in my car. And when I'm totally bored, can't find anything on the radio, I plop that in and just listen over and over again. I must have listened at least 50, 60 times. Not that can get to be an expert, but that I can get to maybe rationalize some of their vocalizations and maybe have exposure to them. That helps me out when I'm in the woods.
And I think that's a great idea too, David. Everybody should familiarize themselves with the local, not only the local wildlife, but just wildlife in general. That way, when you hear something, somebody in the group maybe says, oh, it's a Bigfoot. You can say, no, that's a barred owl. That's what that is. That's a barred owl. And it really helps to, and improves your education, makes you a better researcher too. So everybody do the same thing. Who cooks for you?
That's Bigfoot imitating an owl. No.
Yeah. That's I can't really agree with those type of statements. Well, I'm sure they go ahead.
Besides just owls, like I know in Salt Fork, I was with a Alina group in Salt Fork, and we heard a growl. I mean, it was a guttural, right? And so everyone's hyped up. But then I started hearing the teeth gnashing, and I had heard about bears when they get a little panicky that they start gnashing their teeth. And I said, all right, we're going to back out. We're going to turn around and go back the other way. I'm all for finding Bigfoot, but I'm not into finding Smokey the Bear.
Not looking for bears.
No, we're getting out of here now.
A little unknown fact that I didn't learn until recently: bears don't growl.
Oh,
bears do not growl.
They're one of the quietest attackers out there.
Yep. Yep. They gnash teeth. They smack their lips. They grunt, but they don't. They don't growl.
Well, they can sure be quiet and slip up on you without you knowing it. You know.
Yep. But there's a little talk about thermal. Steve, Curious Cryptid, he will be on our show towards the end of the month, I believe, on the 22nd. So we're looking forward to. You want to talk about a guy that is just super intelligent. I'm blown away about this guy. And another guy we're going to have on is Leon from Bigfoot Okanagan, and he is a behavior guy, and some of the stuff he blows me away. So these two guys, they're just going to raise the bar as far as some of the stuff we're going to learn from those guys in a few weeks. And while I'm on that comment, next week we're going to have on Tom Steenberg. So looking forward to having Mr. Steenberg back on. He wanted everybody to know that he is now in the 21st century and has a webcam. And
all right.
So won't have to hold the phone to the mic anymore.
Welcome, Thomas.
So
I think we still have squirrels running our internet around here.
Sometimes.
Squirrel in the cage. Yeah, sometimes.
So I think we're going to move into the Kentucky Bigfoot Research Organization expedition that we're on. Of course, we're not going to state where we were, but beautiful country. And before we do that, I have a quick, let me just get rid of this thing off the board. And I'm going to put a little mishmash video I put together of the expedition. And then we can talk about annoying birds and some finer cooking points of bacon. And a little bit of a response. So here we go. Let me get that video file up. So here is the mashup. Here we go. Yeah, there's my little
home away from home.
That's it. Those two guys.
Don't I look great in my pajamas? That's a good print.
Yeah. Gotta have Whiskey Rose in there. Ron's still in his pajamas.
What? It was in the morning.
And I'll say it was what a great time it was. So, a lot of laughs, a lot of fun, A lot of some interesting experiences and some very funny times.
Also, we want to. He posted it on Facebook. Charlie had a big moment this weekend.
Well, yes. Unfortunately, I think his father passed away a couple of weeks ago.
Well, he had a second one.
Oh, okay. Yeah, and then he had just a couple of days ago. Charlie got married.
Yesterday,
May 1st, yesterday,
Charlie.
Which is one of the reasons why I didn't bother asking him to come on tonight, because I figured, I'm gonna give the guy, first it was, he had the death, and then he had this wedding, so I wanted to give him some room. So
yeah, everybody on his Facebook page was going congratulations and all that good stuff, and I put on there, you sure she didn't do it just for the green card? Fortunately, Charlie knew my sense of humor and laughed.
Yeah.
Ron, so we do. I mean, David, anytime you want to pop in about your group strategies, but the first night we all kind of went our separate ways. The next couple of nights, Ron and I stuck together, and really we had, the first night was kind of quiet. There was some things. Other groups, I don't know, David, if your group had some experiences.
No, my the Friday night was the only night that I had anything that was interesting. But the first night and the last night, it was pretty much nothing.
Right. But the second night was really, really interesting. Ron and I went to a particular area, and Ron had a couple of strategies. Number one, Ron probably has the loudest call I have ever heard. Mm-hmm. It can rattle windows. I actually, when I did the video for the response video, I actually had to lower the decibels on the audio just so it doesn't, so somebody's sitting there, they're listening to this, that, it's the first time I listened to it, my headphones went.
Ron's going to have to make it up there to the Whitehall calling contest.
Ron would win hands down.
Oh, I got my money on him. Yeah.
But unfortunately, with his trip, it would, it's like a $200 cash prize for the first place winner. So I think it would maybe pay for half his gas.
Yeah.
When we had the Howl contest, I put my hand up and said that Ron was not eligible. It was not fair.
Yeah. He told me that I had to recuse myself.
And I think Ron threw that one anyway. So
I did.
Yeah, of course I did too. I just went, and of course we can't say what my call was just yet, but it was good for laughs.
Being attacked by the cat again. Go scat.
My buddy.
Yeah. Yeah, Morris took up with Steve while he was here.
Yeah, Morris kept my feet warm while I was at Chris's house. I wake up in the morning and Morris looks up and be like, hey, you getting up now?
Don't move those feet. I just got warm. Oh, man.
But, Ron, I think Ron could, if he didn't have a telephone, he could yell to New York. Incredible. But, so where do you want to start with this, Ron, about our little doohickey on that Friday night? To Saturday, we didn't get much.
Really, our group really wasn't that big. I mean, I think it's safe to say that we met in because Missouri has it and Tennessee and all that good stuff. It was a wilderness church, if you will, with a little old family graveside, and they had some old picnic tables, and that's pretty much where we set up.
Yep, you couldn't ask for much more than that.
Yeah,
a good site with picnic tables.
Completely surrounded by woods, and the creek not too far away either. And and there really wasn't that many people that was with us. It was you and I, 3 guys from Cincinnati, and 3 other people that took off early.
Yep.
And of course, our feathered friend.
Feathered friend. Shall we get into the feathered friend?
Yes, by all means. Let's get to the feathered friend. By the way, folks, you'll have to excuse Steve, being from the north. He was not overly familiar with our feathered friend. Go ahead, Steve.
Hang on. Hang on a second. We will take a look at. Here we are. That bird would not shut up. It's the most dastardly thing in the woods. It wouldn't shut up.
Never took a breath.
You hear me walking past the recorder, going looking for it. My skills as a tracker, I'm getting closer.
You had your thermal on, didn't you?
No, I didn't.
Don't work, Steve.
Silence. No, and he goes, I would have shot it. Ring the bell. Fight's over. Yes, and that is the tale of the whippoorwill.
Okay, just put a little background on this. When it first started up, my initial reaction was, "Oh crap, not a whippoorwill," because I know whippoorwills are just absolutely relentless. Once they get started, there's no shutting them up.
Yeah.
And Steve's like, "What the hell is that?" I said, "That's a whippoorwill." "A what?" "A whippoorwill." Whippoorwill. Oh my God. And he didn't believe me when I told him these things will not shut up.
Yeah.
And so me and the rest of the people, we were sitting around where the picnic table was, and I saw Steve get up and walk away, but and then all of a sudden, out of the blue, "Do you mind?" I mean, those other people that didn't see Steve, they just jumped out of their pants. And so here comes Steve. He's coming back looking like Joe Pesci from My Cousin Vinny after he took shots at the screecher owl. And he's like,
that bird left.
It left. It started up about 10, 15 minutes, but it was further away from us.
Well, you're lucky that they didn't have two, because you'll get one and one tree over on one side of you and one on the other side, and it's like a ping pong game. But with audio, like whippoorwill, and they take turns, and they're terrible. They really are.
Oh, I went camping at Buffalo River down in Arkansas one time, and we had a couple of them, and it was like no sleep that night.
Yeah.
And it didn't matter. We got out, we yelled at them, we threw rocks at them, and, they stopped. And then 10, 15 minutes later, they kicked back in.
Steve, if you ever want a T-shirt idea, I would be the first one to buy. Would you mind, and have you on it with the whippoorwill? That is just hilarious.
That's not a bad idea.
That's because that story doesn't get old. Anytime you hear it, it's hilarious.
Well, I swear, when he goes, "Do you mind?" that whippoorwill what?
I left him speechless. He wasn't used to. There was a certain level of sternness, yet politeness to it.
Yeah, I would say it's heard the shut the what up, but never "Do you mind?"
Usually those things, they do not sing during the day when it's sunshiny and stuff. You will never hear one, but early in the morning and late in the evening, and sometimes you get your night version right there.
Well,
and they will not stop, man. They will not stop.
Speaking of night version, the last night I was there, Saturday night, I climbed into my tent for a little bit, and this was actually in the daytime, taking a nap. And wouldn't you know, a whippoorwill decides to chirp up again. And I'm like, that some bitch followed me. He followed me. Now he's trying to get revenge on me. I shut him up, but then he...
That was his uncle. That was his Uncle Charlie coming down to figure out who badmouthed his nephew.
Bob Lemley says the whippoorwill said, "Damn Yankee."
Show those Yankees out too.
You must have made an impression on them, Steve, if they come out for you in the middle of the day too.
So of course Ron decides to employ the bacon strategy.
Mm-hmm. I had a little Bunsen burner, and I got out a frying pan, and we got that bacon smell all over the place.
We sure did.
I mean, I got that grease just as smoking on that frying pan, and I went around and caught the breeze and just sort of let nature do the rest.
Hey, wait a minute. I think we have a video for that too.
Oh?
Yeah, here we go.
I'm unaware of this video.
You're not aware of this video.
Cheap ass bacon, that's what you get.
Notice the maple bacon goes to the Canadian Sasquatch.
Sasquatch.
The Canadian Sasquatch got to have maple
Jimmy
bacon.
Dean for Southern.
I love that. Maple bourbon.
That's for me.
You had to take that picture when I didn't get a haircut because of the COVID thing.
And then, lastly, bait and field mouse with bacon. There's the bacon. There's the mouse. I know he's around here somewhere. Oh, I think it shut off. Did we lose it? Hang on.
Yeah. It didn't show the mouse. I saw it before, though.
Well,
there he is.
There he goes.
There he goes.
It's thinking about it.
Maybe. So that was Cooking with Ron.
Oh, there's more to that bacon. Let me tell you something about your fearless leader. We had some bacon cooked, and I decided, I was like, hey, Steve, let's go over on the other side of that graveyard, and I'll hang some of that bacon, where it wasn't, petrified, crunchy, up on a tree limb.
Yeah.
And so Steve and I, I said, I'll do this, but I'm not going to go by myself, and carrying bacon into the woods,
Right. Yeah.
So we're halfway there, on the other side of the graveyard, and right in front of us, couldn't have been more than 50 feet in front of us, Steve.
Yep.
We heard a big snap coming from the woods. And both of us, just came to a complete stop. We looked at each other to verify that we both heard it, and we shook our heads and waited a couple of seconds. Then I proceeded to go over there, and I found a nice, probably a red bud or something like that on the other side of the graveyard, and I hung it above my head, which is about 8 feet.
Yeah.
And I hung it on the fork of the tree, about 3 or 4 slices of bacon, up there. And I turned around. I was going to say, "What you think that's okay, Steve?" And I turned around. He didn't move a single inch from that first time we stopped from that where the snap happened. He was a good 30 feet away from me. Didn't move.
was therming.
Oh man!
I wanted to see what made the snap. I'm sitting there with my thermal going on.
Yeah.
Ron didn't say, "Come on, let's go." Ron just leaves. And I'm sitting there therming like, "Oh, he's already by the tree."
If you had the thermal, then you knew I was walking. So how good is that excuse?
Well, I wasn't going to watch you. You took up half the viewfinder.
He had my back. I'll tell you that. He had my back. Way back.
Back. That when you hear that distinctive stick snap, I mean that to me, I really like that. I think that's a good possibility. That's creature related.
Oh, it was like a good pop. It was a good, it was good.
Yeah.
And it's not like we heard anything like going like, if it was a deer, we didn't hear anything else after that. It wasn't like
or anything like that. It was just like someone reached up and just snapped a limb and
or something stepped on a branch that just went
stomped on it.
Yeah.
Well, in Kentucky, I've noticed that prior to a visual sighting, sometimes you'll have a snap like that. And also, a friend and I were out. We heard a snap, and we were just standing there looking around, trying to figure out where did this come from? What was it? Where did it come from? And then we heard a tree fall. So I thought, well, maybe it may have been the tree was falling and it popped, So we're talking about that. Hey, man, how lucky are we? We're out in the woods and we heard a tree fall. Everybody always talks about it, but hey, we got to experience it. And just a minute or two later, another one fell.
Yep.
So, wait a minute.
And one could dismiss this as, wind or whatever. But really, I mean, except for a slight breeze, there really was no wind that evening.
Yeah, it wouldn't. When the tree fell, when Scott and I were there, it wasn't wind related either. I went back the next day to do a follow up, and one tree was laying down one way, and another tree was laying down the other way. So it, even there wasn't any wind that day, but even if there was, they weren't laying in the same direction. You know what I mean?
Yep.
So when I got back to where Steve was standing, I'm like
30 feet away
by myself. Well, I was therming the area, making sure you were okay. Okay.
I was looking for the money shot too. Yeah, that'd be kind of nice if we get the snap in there. Something standing back there.
Yeah,
and I could be like, "Hey, Ron, there's a foot over there. There's a big one."
Yeah. Well, it's kind of strange too because in this area the black bears are trying to make a comeback, and a lot of people didn't believe it. There are a lot of reports floating around. Hey, Maggie, there were a lot of reports going around of black bear sightings in the area, and everybody was just kind of blowing it off. No, man, you're thinking they're over at Somerset or something, which around 80 miles away. And but no, sure enough, somebody came up with a trail cam video, and it had a cub on there.
Ooh.
And so if you've got a cub, well, you've got to have a mom and a dad around somewhere.
There's got to be a dad around somewhere.
Yeah, with the possibilities of the black bears repopulating this area, Ron, I wouldn't want to be walking around with freshly cooked bacon.
Especially not by yourself.
Right.
See, Ron didn't know, but I actually slipped some in his pocket. He's walking around. Boy, this whole area smells like bacon. I don't know why.
It's the old joke where I don't have to outrun the black bear. All I have to do is outrun you.
Yeah, that's it.
Well, see, that was the thing. I was hoping to trip him if I had to.
Oh, man.
Yep. Oh, good Lord.
Maybe not be the fastest runner, but I'm a hell of a tripper.
Well, that really, I mean, cooking the bacon, Ron, that's actually a really good idea because that stuff, that scent carries, I mean, for miles. And
I mean, I don't smell it on the other side of that old tree.
Yeah. Even if they weren't really close, I think they're probably going to get a whiff of that if the air is right. And they're going to come, the curiosity, you got to get the better of them. Well, what is that? I don't know. It smells good. Let's go check it out. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but truthfully, we've heard that there weren't very many bears in that particular area. So
yeah,
that was one good thing.
Still, that'd been a hell of a therm if we did get a bear.
Oh yeah. Well, when I was on Southwest Pennsylvania, over in near Chestnut Ridge, I actually got a therm of a bear. That actually, we heard it. Could hear it going. So everybody.
Yeah.
So I pulled that at the time. I was using my Seek thermal. Pulled that out, and I could. It was dark hot. You could see it. It was actually standing on 2 feet at first. By the time I got the therm up and running, and that it kind of took me aback because when the issue I have with thermals is that when you're looking at a bear standing up, it's really hard to discern whether it's a bear or a Sasquatch. Because think about it, they're both standing upright, they're on 2 feet at that point in time. So, unless you have a really high definition FLIR, you're like, okay, there's something tall standing over there. And it stood there for a second, and then I could see it drop, and then you could actually see the hindquarters kind of ungulate as it was bounding away, and it actually ran away, which was a good thing because we were actually pretty quiet. But I think he realized, wait a minute, there's a bunch of them. We were in a group, and we had kids in the group too, so they were actually behind me, and me and Sean Dennis were actually towards the front of everybody, and we were standing together, and I FLIR'd it. And, of course, after it left, I kept the bear mace ready.
Well, that kind of reminds me of that show with Finding Bigfoot. Right. I believe it was like in New Hampshire or something like that. And Renee was, or maybe in New York, I'm not sure. And Renee was going on how that area couldn't support an apex predator. Well, then in the daylight, Bobo looks around the corner of this cabin area and goes, holy beep. And sure enough, there was a bear walking, through the cabins. And I'm like, well, that just shoots her theory about apex predators not being able to be supported, all that we got.
Yeah.
Yep.
Previous time, this place that we was at, I've been I think the 4th time that I actually been there with one of Charlie's expeditions, and one of the nights I had a thermal large heat signature behind a tree, and we watched it, and I thought maybe it was peeking, maybe a Sasquatch peeking around a tree, and it didn't move. And finally, this one guy's like, "Well, I'll go down there." So I'm like, all right, I'll go left, go right, forward, go left, go right. And I said, it's right there. You're right at the tree. And I could see him clear, he was bright, and but I could still see the area, and he's listening. He says, it's a honeybee. It's a bee's nest inside the tree. And the heat of the bees rolling around was creating this therm.
Yep.
And it was really cool. So that was something that I had seen and videotaped. It was really I thought, man, here it comes, peeking, but no, just bees.
Well, a lot of people don't know bees, the way, especially like the murder hornets, the way the bees kill murder hornets and other invading insects is that they swarm them, and they get around them, and they start generating heat, and they actually bake them alive.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
So because there's actually, bees nests are by far have greater numbers than say a wasp nest or a murder hornet nest. So they start killing them off. They have a lot more numbers than the invading force. So they end up burning them or baking them. And I was like, it's phenomenal how they do that. But the only other really killing way I've seen that fascinates the hell out of me is the way killer whales kill great white sharks. So when they what they do is they use one as bait, and they get the shark going in a certain way, and another one comes up and hits it sideways, T-bones them, crushes the ribs. So, nature is an amazing thing. So, when I'm out there and I'm FLIRing things, or I'm using night vision, I get really excited to get something on those devices, because we're seeing, animals being in nature. They're just doing their own thing. And, like the bat, I mean, how you see bats, once in a great while at night because, but when you got that equipment, you're seeing them pretty much unobstructed. And how cool is that? He's grabbing mosquitoes off the riverbed there, the creek bed.
I was going to ask you, Steve, because I can't remember, was that a thermal image or was that your night vision image?
That was the night vision I got the bat on. The deer I got the thermal on.
I thought your thermal's got where you can switch from white hot to black hot. So I thought you might have had it on black hot or something.
No, that was,
man, I love that.
And we were quite a distance from that area. And that was the other cool thing. And Timmy Boy and Prairie Fire in the house. Hello, guys. And Dave Parker, I saw him flying a little earlier as well. So,
Steve, what was the name of that thermal that the gentleman from Cincinnati had? That
was incredible. I believe it's an AGN. I think it was an AGN 34, if I'm not correct. Or something very similar, 340 or 34
and it really wasn't that expensive.
No.
Like $1,400?
It is an AGM TM15-384.
Yeah, that's it.
Because I have it saved.
Yeah, me too. I had to look it up.
Okay, so I have a FLIR Scout TK. And as you can see from the video, the resolution is not the greatest. And it's also quite honestly, it's a pain in the ass putting it in video editors because certain, believe it or not, I have 2 video editors. The high end one can't really process that thing right. But the low end, using Microsoft Movie Maker, actually processes it fine, but the resolution is not the greatest. This gentleman had this AGM TM384. And which is they run about between $1,200 and $1,300, and it's about the size. It's the same size as the FLIR TK Scout. The resolution is unreal. The brightness is unreal. The range is unbelievable. That's where you start seeing, and I'm sure the resolution of the video that has got in-house recording, just like it has all the other features, but it does have a couple of extra features that the Scout TK doesn't. It has Wi-Fi, which means you can connect it to your phone and transfer the video right to your phone, or you can watch it from your phone.
Bluetooth.
It also has Bluetooth. It also has Wi-Fi too. So if you're at the home network, you can transfer the videos, but it has Bluetooth as well.
Yeah, Bluetooth. I mean, I'm sure there's an app. But whatever the person's looking at through the thermal, other people around it can get out their phone and watch on the phone whatever this person's aiming at,
or the tablet.
Yes,
or a tablet.
And he wasn't kidding about the resolution. I mean, I focused on a headstone that had to be, 50, 75 feet away, and it was just so crisp. It wasn't fuzzy. It was crisp. It was like looking at it with your naked eye.
Right. And that kind of technology is wonderful. But something that this has as well that the TK Scout does not is it has a tripod mount on it.
Yes.
And the Scout TK does not have one. So you can mount this on a tripod.
Or one of those sticks.
Yep. Set it up in an area and then go back, 100 feet. And watch it from your tablet, or put it in a hidden spot and watch it from your tablet, or go into your vehicle and watch it from a tablet.
Yeah, set up a bait like bacon, and focus on where you put that in, and sit. And as long as the battery holds out, you can sit there from your truck and watch what's going on from your iPhone or iPad.
And the beautiful thing about that as well is you don't even have to set that up to record on the device. You can set that to record on your device, on your phone device, either on your phone or your tablet. So you can sit there and record it well. So you don't have to worry. All you do is just turn it on, go over, set it up, and then you see something, hit that record button, and you're good to go.
Yeah, this guy was telling us about all the features and this, that, and the other, and I'm like, baby.
The other cool thing,
dirty to me.
Yeah,
I mean, damn.
I remember you saying that. One of the other cool things about this, it has heat tracking.
Yes.
So if something's moving, it keeps the crosshair right on it. So if something's walking, you will know where it's going. So yeah, that's going to be. I think that's going to be my self Christmas present.
It even had a thermometer on it, didn't it? So like
it did. It gave you a temperature. The FLIR TK does that too, I believe. If you put it into a proper setting, it'll tell you the temperature. I don't use that because the range of the TK apparently is not that great.
I'd be interested to see what this range is, though.
Yeah. Very interesting. Yeah.
Well, I liked your thermal, Steve. I really did. And as far as if you're within a reasonable range, it is great. Yep. But now when you start reaching out way out there, okay, then it starts getting a little fuzzy. But now that's going to be with any of them.
Right. What's great about
impressed with the range this one had, though, Chris.
Yeah, the range on this one was probably 3 times the range of the clarity was like those deer in the field that I was shooting. You would see them clearly, and things would also be a little bit more defined. Mm-hmm. So I think really, that's going to be on my list of things to get very soon.
Oh, it already is on mine.
Yep.
Self-presence.
Yes.
Father's Day.
It's nice having a new job too.
Oh yeah. Yeah, like I was talking about it, and I want a nice FLIR, but I don't want to have to sell my truck to get one. That's the thing, and I don't want to invest a lot of money in one, but I'm not above spending a reasonable amount to get a reasonable tool because it's well worth it.
We looked it up. It's like $1,300. I'm telling you, for the you get your bang for the buck on this one.
Yeah. Everybody was also impressed with the small parabolic mic I brought.
Oh yeah.
And people, we've talked about that before. I think we mentioned it earlier. Is that you'll see parabolic mics for as much as $1,200-$1,500 on Amazon. Yeah. This $40 parabolic mic works just as good, if not better, because it's less bulky. It's lighter, it's less bulky, it's easy to set up. It's already pre-set up. You don't have to put the mic in and twist any. This all you do is put the dish on. You're good to go, and the dish is only about your.
I noticed something about Steve when he goes out on an expedition or outing. He comes loaded for bear. Man, he had a car load of equipment. And he's bringing this thermal out. He's bringing these night vision glasses. And I'm sitting here, I got saliva. I'm like, oh, my God. I love those toys.
Not like the person that Dave got to spend the evening with down there by the river.
Yeah, Ron Leatherman. What a wonderful guy, a BFRO investigator from Indiana. And he is Mr. Gadget. It was like he pulled different things out. Well, we could try this, or we could try that, or here you have this, and I'm like, okay, where is he bringing this out of? It was like this portable
this was all on his vest.
Yeah, and it's all on his vest. It's like if the apocalypse came, I was glad to be in his company. That's for sure.
And that Jeep of his was decked out to.
Oh,
it was ready for a landing expedition on Mars.
Yeah, it's got gauges and lights and equipment and rations and it was unbelievable.
Oh man, those Jeep guys! You could tell somebody if he's a Jeep guy and he's got one, they'll have one that's really decked out with everything.
And
big wheels, big tires.
And for those for some reason I can't post to Facebook tonight. Never fail. Some days you can't post to Twitter, but that's just good old Facebook. But for those YouTubers out there, I did place a link in the chat in YouTube to the Amazon page for this particular thermal. So
good deal.
I'm able to, in fact, I'll just pull it right over here, and there it is.
Oh, there it is.
And it's actually running a little high now. It was actually lower. It's up like $15 from what it was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, but that 384 resolution, that's pretty good.
Yeah.
When you start getting up, and believe me, I've been looking at them. When you start getting up to the 480 resolution, oh yes, now you're taking out a mortgage.
Well, like
6,000, 8,000, 9,000.
But when you think about it, it's kind of like night vision. When you go up another grade, it's the jump is phenomenal. It's exponential.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Well, dude, I had one of those little.
Should I hit it?
What?
No.
What?
Should I hit it?
Push.
I had one of those little night vision binoculars that came out years ago. And, when I look, you can't see anything through it, man. I mean, now it was like, okay, on our glasses that we have, Steve, the binoculars, it's like when you have no illumination set at all, and you can look out and see everything's just a little green looking, that's about it. That was about that binoculars. I mean, that's better than that binocular would do because you had to be really close. But now with these glasses, these binoculars, oh my God, you hit level 1, it's like, oh my God, it's instant daylight outside,
Yep. And it's not the green light, it's digital night vision too.
Yeah.
So
I was really shocked at how clear and crisp that stuff is.
You don't have the green.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
That was a Creative XP Glass Owl that I was using. Chris has the box. Pop that box up.
I was showing Steve earlier. I got me a pair of them bad boys. Oh, let's see. Can you see that?
Yep.
Glass Owl binoculars. Now they got the Creative XP. I thought this was supposed to be the Pro. And when it came, it didn't say Pro on the box because I wanted exactly the same one that Steve had. And but now the specifications are supposed to be the same. The smaller, the 4-inch screen and stuff is on this one. So I'm pretty sure that maybe it's just a different version. But
now you see, Matt Rudy suggested, maybe some of the Russian scopes are cheaper. And while I agree they are cheaper, maybe you'll find, but they do have that green bit of but both of these, the night vision and the FLIR, as well as the AGN, they are all weather resistant. So you look at the night vision binoculars, they are plugged to take some rain. Not a hell of a lot, but they're plugged to take some rain. So you don't have to worry about getting wet for oh my goodness, it's not like a digital recorder where you get it wet and that's it, it's done. So I do use that. I carry a couple of H2Ns. I have some other small recorders. I have 3 or 4 drop recorders, what I call drop recorders, that I bring. And usually what I'll do is I'll tuck them under a trail camera. And so now I'm not only recording any trail cam pictures that happen, but I'm also recording the sounds around it.
Well, years ago, a friend of mine, he owns a pretty good size gun place in Lexington or Versailles, Kentucky. And he had some of these military surplus Czechoslovakian night vision.
Yep.
And it came with a handheld spotlight. And this spotlight was probably 7 or 8 inches in diameter. And it was heavy. It had a big battery pack with it. And you could shoot that out. Of course, it was infrared. You could shoot that out. And, oh, my God, it would go for miles. So, if you had it wouldn't matter what kind of equipment you had. If you're looking through something that shows in the infrared, I mean, wherever that spotlight went, you could see it if it was a half a mile away. But unfortunately, I did not pick one of those up to keep.
Well, if you can get IR lens or an IR film,
right,
that you can put over and basically modify any lumen worth of any lumen light. So if you want to get a sheet of, you can cut it to the spec of your flashlight. Say you have an 1800 or a 1700 lumen flashlight.
Right.
You put that lens on. The only thing is it does tend to overheat things. And that was a problem when you had halogen bulbs or krypton bulbs, but not so much when you have the LED bulbs. So, haven't tried it, haven't tried using it because I actually picked up a pretty decent one. Chris, you saw it in action on the camcorder. For $11, this little clip-on IR light that I just clip on to the one of the spacer bars I put in underneath the camera. Right. And I just clip it onto that, and it actually projects a little extra IR for the IR function on the camcorder.
Yeah, Steve, if you can, after you post the show tonight on like on YouTube or wherever, see if you can include a link to go to those night vision binoculars, because people needs to really check those out. Yep. That is worth the money, and it's a very good tool that's very, I won't say it's inexpensive, but it's affordable.
You can get it for about $300 or less if you're looking.
Yeah.
So David, when you were with Ron, you that was Friday night too, wasn't it?
That was Friday night also. Yeah, we since I've been down there a couple of times, I didn't have the courage nor the training nor the equipment, and I finally did my bucket list. I called Charlie a couple of days before we went down there, and I said, hey, I really want to go remote camping down that one spot. And he said, sure, we'll get her done. And so I was going to do it by myself, and Ron decided that he wanted to go, and thank God he did. I really wouldn't have gotten it all taken care of without him there, so I was very, very happy. But we had to skip out. I apologize to you ahead of time, but we had to skip out of your lecture and head down because it was an hour and a half, 3 mile. We were doing a 30-minute mile down and back, and we had already went earlier and set up our camp and got a pretty decent supply of firewood built up, and then ran back to dinner, group picture. And then Ron started to do his talk, and we had to hurry up and head back down there. And we still got there about 8:30. It's a long haul. I've had action down there before, and the night started off really good. We had I would say like a human yell. I mean, it wasn't. I thought it was someone had followed us and was cranking on us. But Ron had this powerful radio, and he's radioing trying to get a hold of people. We couldn't even get a hold of anybody, but we had a decent yell. We had knocks on both sides of us going off, and I did a howl and brought in about 4 different coyote groups across the river, and one was a little bit closer than we wanted to, so we built our fire up a little bit bigger. And the only other thing that happened, it was like the fire of the bonfire of Gondor from Lord of the Rings. It was like, all right, let's throw a little bit more on here. But the only other thing that happened was I was going to get up and do a couple tree knocks, and I went to a tree behind our tent. And as I was approaching, we had a nice fire lit ring around our camp. And just on the outside of that, something took off away from us. And I was like, Ron, get your camera, get your therm. He came there, and we looked around. We didn't see anything. And we're like, well, it could be any of the wildlife that's in the area, deer or coon or something like that. But we didn't have any food that we were cooking. So I don't know what would have been attracted to us by food smell. And a little bit later, we were doing stuff.
We had beans for dinner that night. Don't forget that, too.
And a little later, we had a pea tree, I guess you could say. We wanted to pee on this one tree because the way the wind was blowing, we wanted to go one way away from camp, but also to challenge or mark our territory. And as he got up to go to that tree, something tore off again from that same area behind our tent, just out of sight of our campfire light. And it was something spooked. I mean, it was, and I don't see a deer. I can see a deer doing that, just being curious, but I don't see it coming back. And again, we didn't have food out or cooking, So anything that would normally come around for scraps or to see what's left, they would do that after we went to bed. So that's the only thing that I could say that was odd or exciting, but we really don't have any more than what happened, and we both heard it. So, and then the weather was changing at about 3:00 in the morning. We finally went to bed, and the rain came in, and we really didn't have anything else that happened after that. But it was a great experience, and I'm glad I got that off my list.
So, just to show people what a trooper David is. That day you went to the remote camp. I mean, you went down early and you came back. And then you went down. How many miles did you walk that day?
Well, down and back was 6, and then down again was 9, and then in the morning we turned around and had to beat feet for breakfast. So that'd been 12 miles that
there you
week,
go.
within 24 hours.
And we're talking, and we're not talking like 12 miles on a road. We're talking 12 miles in the woods.
Yeah. And we were pacing a 30-minute mile with all of our gear on our back. So like I said, I couldn't have done it without Ron being there. He was setting the pace, and I was just trying to keep up. We had breaks every once in a while. We'd stop and therm a little bit. It's always good to do it with a buddy.
People used to pick on me for all the equipment I carried in a vest. My God, Mr. Leatherman carries like everything, including a Leatherman, in his vest.
Oh, yeah, we were ready for anything down there. That's for dang sure.
Yep. So anyhow, Ron and I, the second night, we're going to show
the other Ron.
Huh?
The other Ron.
This Ron. Ron and I, on the second night, after the shenanigans with the bacon and the whippoorwill, Ron tried his nice bellowing calls, and folks, I had to actually knock the decibels down on his calls because I didn't want to necessarily, and he wasn't next to the recorder by any means, mind you, but I didn't want people to go deaf on the show tonight, or if you're listening
David, take the earpiece out. Take the earpiece out, I'm telling you.
No, it'll be okay. I think it'll be okay. You have 2 ears, only plugging in one, so you're good. You still have another ear. So and we did get a response, and here we go. We're going to get this fired up. So first thing I do is stop my camera. Oh, I can't do that until, where is it? Now Ron's going to make 3 calls. That's the second of 3 calls. Or maybe there it is. And that was it. That little. So it was at some distance.
It always sounds closer.
Oh yeah, it sounded booming loud. Actually, I'm surprised. Yeah.
Well, that's remarkably similar to the Kentucky sound that they got on Monster Quest. It really is. Yeah. It was an unknown sound that they recorded.
And there was actually 2 howls back to back. I mean, it just like that.
Except for some reason, the recording picked up more of our voices than it did the second howl. But
if I remember what I said, it's probably a good thing you did edit that out.
Yes.
How long was it till the response after the howl?
Well, you just heard it live. You heard it live.
So that's how far. Okay.
Yeah. So it must have took time for it to travel, I'm sure. But you want to hear it again? We'll play it over again. Oops, my mistake here. This is all real time, not edited at this point in time. Timeline was not messed with. So that was it. That was it there. So I'll play it one more time.
But there was actually 2 owls. And folks, you got to realize that there's a lot of white noise that's interfering with that recording. But believe me, when you were there, that it was a hell of a lot clearer and sounded a lot closer than that.
Right. Yeah. I mean, I had to amplify that, so that's where you're getting the white noise. It's just the air just for it, but unreal. It really was. It was probably the loudest response I've heard, and I've heard some bantering back and forth. Actually, I got one in Vermont actually pretty good. It was pretty clear because it was a lot closer than this one was. It was probably maybe a few hundred yards, 500-600 yards. But yeah, I don't know where the sucker was. Maybe on the other ridge, I think. Because there was where we were kind of up on a ridge, and then there was kind of a valley a bit, and then there was another higher ridge across from us, probably maybe half mile.
Okay, for folks that when he said valley, for people in the south,
holler, yeah,
holler.
You know, and that doesn't mean hit me up, holla at me. That means it's a valley.
Oh, I didn't say holla. I said holler. But yeah, I mean, it was really, really intense. It was very impressive, and I mean, we were hearing some distance, what we might consider wood knocks and stuff, and of course the snap.
Yep.
That you dealt with and all that good stuff. But yeah, this one was probably the highlight of the evening up until when me and that other guy, for me anyway, later that evening, like I said, we were near this old country church, and nature got the better of me, and so I went to, water.
Take a whiz.
Yeah, I went to relieve myself, and this other guy, he went there too. And we went sort of in front of the church, and where this yard was. And we were facing, Steve, we were facing pretty much the same direction where those yells came from.
Yep.
But this was much later in the evening, and we were doing our thing, and making water, and halfway through, I mean, it just seemed pretty damn close. Something went right at us. And I mean, and it's a good thing he was standing a good 10, 12 feet away from me, because we definitely would have had a John Wayne moment where, someone was going to piss on someone's pants.
Yeah.
Because
don't
both
cross the beams.
Yeah. we definitely, turn and just like, and it's just that one sound. Well, we finished what we needed to do. We came back there and we were telling Steve and all that good stuff. And, but yeah, that was a definite, it almost sounded like a dog bark, but it wasn't a coyote yelp or bark, but it was like like a you know, and you know, we were talking about all that the next morning, and I said, you know what? I said, I think the best thing part of it is that while we were doing that, we heard the cough or the bark at us instead of a giggle. We could have heard that, you know. But no, it was really, that was really something.
Steve, when you get a chance, man, I want you to take a listen to that howl they recorded on vocalization they recorded on Monster Quest. It's the episode, The Hillbilly Beast Attacks, season 4, episode 2.
Roger that.
And write down the 38-minute and 46-second mark.
Well,
yeah, that's the one that they had. I don't think I could share it on. I've got my headphones on.
Right. Well, gentlemen, we have 9 minutes left to show. So again, it flies by as we are talking here. So we'll go around the panel here, and we'll talk to David first. Any final thoughts on your experiences in Kentucky? And
it's always been a great time down there. Charlie Raymond runs a great expedition and is very courteous to all newbies or people that have had some experience. A big shout out to the guys who do the cooking. You can't go away hungry there. If you didn't gain 5 pounds over the weekend, they do. Steve and John do a great job, and all the crew that helped out there. Kentucky is my second Bigfoot home. I love Ohio, but boy, do I get excited when I get a chance to go down to Kentucky.
And what do you have going on another 2 weeks?
Oh, in 2 weeks, yes, I do have a little conference that I've been putting together. It's sold out. It's Sasquatch Triangle Conference over here in Coshocton, Ohio. I have Don Keating. I've been able to get him squared away to come out of kind of retirement and do a little talk, and have Shane Corson from the Olympic Project coming out and going to talk about the nesting site over there in Washington State, and a couple other good guys. Yeah, a couple other good guys, George Workman and Kane Michael from the Hocking Hills, and George is from Pennsylvania. So we have a good little group coming, and just going to try it out and see what we can do. Trying to help out the local businesses in the Coshocton area. A lot of good support, and I'm pretty excited.
Well, David, I'll be seeing you along with Tactical Bigfoot Research. Mike Ann will be coming along as well. Corner. And Sherry, of course, Sherry Lynn will be with us too. So we'll see you in a couple of weeks, David. We'll look forward to meeting Shane Corson, of course. I haven't met him yet, so looking forward to meeting him. Mr. Ron, final thoughts on the Kentucky expedition, aside from the little snicker you got?
Oh, I enjoyed it. I mean, I enjoyed the area. To me, it wasn't that much different than being at home, but as far as the terrain, but it was beautiful. It was clean. It was very serene. The folks wasn't a bad bunch amongst them. Of course, Charlie runs a good, well-run ship, and the people that did the cooking, it was all really good stuff. I enjoyed every bit of it, and I got to tell you, the thrill of it all is I got to meet Steve Kulls face to face and Chris Bennett face to face for the first time.
Honor was on this end of the table, Ron.
Yeah,
same here.
I got to see them in action, and they got to see me, and I told you I got a holler that's pretty much that most people don't believe is there, but
it's there.
You're a believer now, aren't you, Steve?
I never doubted you, Ron.
I walked up and sat down at a table, and guess who turned around, looked me in the face? He said, "That's Chris. It's Taters." Ah! Oh man,
that was fun. That was wonderful.
Yeah.
But I'm sorry that, David, that you missed my presentation. But some people found it interesting and thought-provoking. I believe that was the term that was used.
Yeah, halfway through that trail walk back down there, I was second guessing that. I was thinking maybe I should just stay and listen to Ron.
I've already walked 6 miles today or 12 miles. I don't want to.
Yeah, that's a rough day. I've had those days too, David. I know what you were feeling, man. Even if you're in good shape, when you do a combined 12 miles in the woods in one day, the next day you're going to wake up feeling, oh boy, I'm sore in places I didn't even know I had.
Yep. Especially when you're sleeping on the floor with a little air mattress in your sleeping bag. In the rain that night. Ron, it's always a pleasure seeing you. You've been nothing but a gentleman and a friend, and it was nice to see you again.
It was good to see you too. It really was, and I got to see a lot of people that I've met before, and a lot of new people. Some people didn't know what to make out of me, but that's okay. Half my family doesn't either. I'm always told when I'm first met, boy, he's an intimidating son of a you-know-what. And then like, oh, well, he ain't nothing but a big teddy bear, by the time they get done. But
for the people that don't know Ron personally, I mean, and you see him on the screen here, you don't realize this is a big guy. I mean, this is a big man. He is a shaved Bigfoot himself. I was worried about him bumping his head on the doorways here at the house. No joke.
Why do you think I took my hat off, to be polite?
Oh man!
And for those who haven't checked out Ron's YouTube page, of course, his YouTube page is really easy. Just YouTube search Ron Bowles. Yeah. He has a great eye shine video on there. I was stunned by that one where you were on the bridge in Oklahoma.
Oh, in Oklahoma?
Yeah, that was phenomenal.
I like that one. I like it. Yeah.
So make sure you check out Ron's page. Give it a
follow up the next morning too, which I'm a big believer in that.
Yeah.
There's one thing about getting video footage. Freaking do a follow up. Do something to show that it wasn't a bear or something. Do a freaking follow up.
Yep.
Yeah. Pareidolia.
Exactly. Good advice.
Yeah. And as for me, being on that expedition, I will say it was so professionally run. It was such a great time. Everybody was friendly. And like I said, I think there was 56 people there, and I hope I made 56 new friends. And from their action, I'm getting that. So it was a great time. I loved every second of it. Wish it was still going on. Although the ticks weren't necessarily kind to me the first night, but
I did pick off that tick from your neck. We did some primate behavior there.
Yeah. I still got the mark on me from it a little bit.
Yeah.
Are you still able to eat red meat?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
That's the bad thing about tromping around in the woods in Kentucky, especially this time of year. The ticks are out in full force. And man, they get you from below, they get you from above. You can't have it.
Yep. So, Chris, your final thoughts, and of course, you know what to say at the end.
Oh man, well, I was pleased as punch to meet David and Ron in person. I was tickled to death, and I also got to meet Charlie, talk to him for a few minutes. And of course, as always, I already knew you. but I enjoyed myself though, and I want to thank David and Ron for coming on the show tonight, and thank all of our lovely guests for coming in, or excuse me, our lovely listeners for coming in. You guys are so great, always the greatest comments. And I'll get to reading. Sometimes I'll just start cackling and laughing because I'm reading your guys' comments over there during the show. If it's the first time you've watched us, if you're on YouTube, please hit like, subscribe, share. Help us out with the search. Yeah, sharing is caring. And we appreciate it. It helps support the channel, helps get us found so more people can listen to us. Thank you.
And of course, next week we'll be returning Sunday, 9 p.m. Eastern, with the one, the only 42-year research in 42 years in Bigfoot research, Mr. Thomas Steenberg from British Columbia, Canada. And man, it's always a treat to hear some of the investigations he's done. And now to see him, now that he's in the 21st century too, it's going to be awesome. And because he was on the Squatch Talk Radio with me on Friday. So, and then of course the week after, not the week after that, the 16th, I will be in Coshocton, Ohio with David. So we're coming back from that. No, I'll be coming back Monday, but I'll be in Coshocton, Ohio on Monday. So I don't think we're doing a show, or Sunday. So we won't be doing a show there. And of course, Ron's got to play the whippoorwills in the background. I'm going to go into a seizure. But anyway, I digress as always.
I want one of those t-shirts. I want a t-shirt.
I want one.
I think I'm going to make them. But anyway, great night, guys. You know, my friends, you know, and I love it because I get a room full of friends tonight. We had a great time. David, Ron, we'll cross paths sometime soon, I'm sure.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
And David, I'll see you in a couple of weeks. Of course, the week after that, we'll have Leon from Bigfoot Okanagan and Steve from Curious Cryptid. We'll have those two guys on. I believe Bigfoot Okanagan will be coming on a little bit later. He may be on like at 9:30 or 9:45. Whereas Steve will handle, Curious Cryptid will handle that shoulder, weight to bear on his shoulders for the first 45 minutes. But anyway, on behalf of everybody here, we want to wish everybody a happy and safe week. God bless. And most of all, keep on squatching. We'll catch you all here next Sunday night, 9 p.m. Eastern. Ciao.
Hey, folks, you've been watching Squatch-D TV. Join us each week, Sunday night at 9 p.m. Eastern, for the latest on the Bigfoot mystery. As always, we thank you for being our loyal viewers and encourage all to subscribe to our YouTube page at youtube.com/Steve Kulls. As always, have a great week. Stay safe. God bless. And keep on squatching.